Welcome back, everyone, to the Your Eggs podcast. I'm really excited to be here with you all today because today's episode is one that is going to be really, really special. You get me one-on-one today. That's right. That's part of the reason why it's special. The other reason is I'm going to be covering the pros and cons of using an egg donor, because anytime you make decisions like this, there are obviously pros and cons to the decision, and you need to know what they are so you can make the best decision on your fertility journey and hopefully your egg donation journey as well. If you are not already a subscriber to our YouTube channel, you have to make sure that you subscribe. So hit that bell to subscribe and get notified when we put out another video for all of you. If you've got questions about your fertility journey and more specifically your egg donation journey, then I want to invite you to leave those comments below so that we can answer those questions for you. All right, let's jump into it. All right, so anytime you're making these decisions, these are big decisions, and choosing an egg donor is probably the biggest decision you're going to make on your fertility journey, because you've already, or you're considering making this switch from using your eggs to using somebody else's eggs, and that's not a small decision. It's no easy task to switch over to that. So we're going to break that down in terms of the pros and cons today, and all these pros and cons are going to be valued differently for each one of you. Some of you are going to value one more important than the other, and that's because you have your own individual needs, your own relationship with one another as a couple, and you have your own journey. So let's take them all in, let's digest them, and then you can decide which ones are the most important for you and how you're going to move forward with those. So as we talk about the pros of using an egg donor, the first pro is that it allows you to start a family. It is going to allow you to have the family that you desire, that you may have not otherwise been able to have, because you are able to use an egg donor. And that is huge, right? That's number one. It's big because not everyone gets that choice or that opportunity, because there's so many variables and factors that go into making that opportunity. Additionally, an egg donor is a special thing, and being able to have the choice to use an egg donor or multiple eggs from that donor to have your family and grow your family is also really unique. So we need to honor that and recognize how special that is and how special of an opportunity that is for you, because not everyone gets that. The other key important piece here is that you've already gone through the process of realizing that your eggs are not going to work to start your family. And when you've made that decision, it's a challenging one to make it. It's a challenging realization to come to, because you've either been told that you can't use your own eggs, or you've gone through IVF and recognized that your eggs are not going to be the option to starting your family. And so now you have a new opportunity to use somebody else's eggs, and I think this is a huge opportunity that we all need to consider. The second pro in using an egg donor is it allows you to have potentially a larger family. That's right. So using an egg donor with IVF gives you the opportunity, because when you are using an egg donor, the goal is to not just get one egg and one embryo. It's to get multiple eggs and create multiple embryos from the same individual, so that your children can be biologically similar. And that's the goal here. And so if you're able to reach out to an egg donor and they accept and they're willing to work with you, then the goal is to get as many eggs as possible, to create as many embryos as possible, and freeze them. And that's one of the other beautiful things about using an egg donor, is that you get to freeze all the extra eggs and have them for the future. So not only are you able to conceive and have a child now, but you can also have the same biological relationship in the future with those same frozen eggs moving forward, and be able to have as many children as you desire as a couple. Another advantage of using an egg donor is you get to make a lot of decisions to choose the type of child you're looking for, which is amazing, because most of the time we don't really get to make those decisions. You get to choose potentially the sex of the child, and you get to help choose the genetic makeup. And this is something that's really unique to this process. One is, when you are going through IVF, there's always that opportunity, and using egg donation, I should be clear, is going through IVF as well, okay? So anytime you're going through that, there is the opportunity to choose this, to make the selection of what gender you want the baby to be. But this one is even more prominent because you're going to know all of that information up front, because that's the information they give you when you are getting your embryos. And you could choose not to have that information during the IVF process. The other important piece is this: you have all this genetic information, all this lab tests that you wouldn't otherwise have, or you would have to choose to have those things done in the IVF process, whereas with egg donation, you are absolutely going to have that because that's part of the screening process. And so that helps to make you more comfortable moving forward and make the best decisions about which embryos you're going to use. Another pro when we are talking about egg donation is that you still get the genetic makeup of the father, the paternal side, as part of the embryo and the child that you're creating, which is amazing. So as wonderful as adoption is as an option, when you do that, you lose both genetic material from the mother and the father. And at least with egg donation, you get to keep the father's genetic makeup as part of this, and that's huge in my opinion. It not only keeps the child connected to the couple because of the father, but you get to pass on his genetic makeup, which is why we all start to go down this road of having children in the first place. And my next point, having to do with the pros of using an egg donor, is that this might not seem like it's an empowering process for women, but it absolutely is. This process gives you choices, gives you options. If you want to start your family later in life and focus on career first, make sure that you have had the career path that you wanted, that you've been successful, worked on your relationship as a couple, it allows you to do that. It also still allows you to be able to have the family that you desire moving forward as you get older, regardless of your age and regardless of the circumstances. And that is super empowering to women. Every time I have that conversation, that's the feedback that I get, is that this took the burden off. It gave me flexibility. It gave me confidence to know that I could have the family that I want, and allowed me to feel confident as a woman that I could still have a child. And that is what it's all about. So those are the pros of having or using an egg donor. And now we're going to jump into the cons, the reasons why you might reconsider using an egg donor. Using an egg donor can be a stressful and difficult process, but it can weigh on you as a couple, and that's the first con, is really it causes a lot of stress, and potentially causes a lot of stress between you and your partner as a relationship, because when you started your relationship, you went into it thinking that we're going to get married, we're going to have children as a couple. And so when that strays and when that changes, your relationship has to adjust and change with that, and with that comes a little bit of stress. But that is not something that can't be overcome. It absolutely can be overcome if you all work on it the right way. If you are in communication, if you know that you both can trust each other as individuals, and that your relationship will last beyond this and actually grow and become stronger, because now you're going to have a child to raise. So even though there is a little bit of stress, it absolutely can be overcome with a little bit of effort on both of your parts. The second reason that you might reconsider using an egg donor is that it can take a lot of time and effort. Now, I will say that anything that is worthwhile in this world takes time and effort. Most things just don't come easy. So if you're expecting this to be an easy process, let's just take a step back, let's take a breath, and let's recognize that we're going to put in the effort to have this amazing result that we're striving for. But with that being said, even though, yes, it's going to take some time and it's going to take some effort on everyone's part, all of those things don't have to be as difficult, as time-consuming, just because you're going through an egg donation process. If you have made the right decisions on which donor you're going to choose, that process becomes easier. If you have given yourself some flexibility on what characteristics are important when choosing an egg donor, that process is going to be easy. or easier if you give yourself options. So we're going to say, this is donor, the first donor we want, this is the second, this is the third, right? You have some backups in case for some whatever reason the first one doesn't work out. That process is going to be made a little bit easier. And then if we use frozen eggs, that process could be faster. If we do a split cycle, that process could be faster and more affordable. So there's lots of ways for an egg donation process to be easier. So there's lots of ways for an egg donation process or cycle to be easier and more efficient for you if you go into it with the right mindset and if you're flexible about how you're going to go about it. And last but not least, if you have the right agency. The right agency makes all the difference, okay? And if you have the right agency with the right staff behind it, supporting you throughout the process to make it easy, to make it go by smoothly and as quickly as possible, then the whole process doesn't have to be as difficult and as time-consuming. And so that is also why I think YourEggs is such a great agency, is because they do have the best staff. They also are very aware of time. They want to make sure that they're maximizing your time and not wasting it, and they want to make that process as smooth and easy as possible for you. The most, I think, aware con that I think all of us are mindful of when we're using an egg donor or considering it is that obviously you're not going to have the maternal genetics at play, right? That you've taken away your genetic material and you are choosing somebody else's egg, and so as such, we have their genetic material. And that obviously is the most difficult part about making this decision. But I want to tell you all, that doesn't mean that your genetic material doesn't get passed on to that child. Because if you are carrying that baby for those 9 to 10 months of pregnancy, then your genetic material is going to be passed on during that time. Now, obviously, it doesn't make up the full 50% of that child, but it does impart some of your genetics into that child. And everybody tells me the same thing. That makes them have a little bit more peace of mind and makes that process a little bit easier. So that actually, to me, becomes can be swayed and moved into the positive side because you do get to pass on a little bit of your genetic material along with your partners, and you get to carry that baby throughout the pregnancy. And last but not least, it's obviously an emotionally challenging decision to make. And going through the process is going to have its ups and downs. Everything's not easy and smooth because you have to make these decisions. And at every moment that you're making these decisions, you are reminded that you're using somebody else's egg. But I want to let you know that the person behind it who's giving you their egg is doing it for the right reasons. They're doing it because they want you to have the family of your dreams, and that's important to them. And as much as that process is difficult emotionally, it is all worthwhile in the end when you are holding that baby in your arms. The other 2 points I want to mention here is that all challenges in life make us stronger, make us better. And this could potentially be the biggest challenge that you've ever faced. Not only going through fertility challenges, but making the decision to go through IVF and then making the decision to use a donor egg. These are all difficult challenges in life. But it will make you stronger. It will allow you to have a stronger family relationship. And I promise you, will make you a better parent. You're going to appreciate your family and that child much more than others. And I'm not suggesting that others do not appreciate the family that they have or the children that they have. But I have seen this routinely, that those couples who have gone through fertility treatments and who have decided to use an egg donor have a completely different relationship with their children and their family. And I think that is possible for you as well. So we've covered these pros, we've covered these cons. In the end, I think it's all clear. It's worthwhile to use an egg donor. There is potentially only upside here with very few little negatives and downsides. And all of those negatives and downsides can be overcome. with the right path, with the right agency, and the right donor. I want to thank you all for watching this episode. Hopefully you found it as rewarding as I did. And so I want to hear from you. Comment below and let me know which one of these points was valuable for you, which one stuck out to you and resonated with you. Comment below. And if you've got questions around your fertility journey or your egg donation journey, please leave those questions down below as well. And if you want more information on YourEggs and how we can support you on your egg donation journey, then you can go to YourEggs.com and we'll leave that link in the description below. All right, everyone, we'll see you in the next video.